Hey, welcome to the Journey to the Psalms. This is day 130. We're in Psalms 140. Yeah, 140. Day 130, Psalms 140. Before we get going, I want you to turn to Samuel, 2 Samuel chapter 15. And you're going to see that the chapter 15 is about Absalom's conspiracy. And Absalom is the son of David, and pretty much what happens is that Absalom tries to kill David, his father, in order to become the next king of Israel. Here's what here's what it says in uh what is that? Verse 13. And a messenger came to David saying, "The hearts of the men of Israel have gone after Absalom." Then David said to all his servants who were with him at Jerusalem, "Arise and let us flee, or else there will be no one to escape with us from Absalom. Arise, let us flee." David, David, man, this dude was the one that stood before Goliath and became a mighty warrior before the Lord. And even King Saul was trying to kill David for a while, and now his son is trying to kill him. And in the midst of all this insanity, right? David sits down and he writes Psalms 140. Or maybe not even in the midst of the insanity, maybe after he became king, because it says to the choir master. So David must have already been king, and the choir master, uh, receives this psalm and is instructed by King David to put this psalm into an actual song to sing. But here's what David writes: "Deliver me, O Lord, from all evil men. Preserve me from violent men who plan evil things in their hearts and store up wars continuously. They make their tongues sharp as a serpent, and under their lips is a venom of asp. Guard me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from violent men who have planned to trip up my feet. The ignorant have hidden a trap for me, and with cords they have spread a net. Beside the way they have set snares for me. I say to the Lord, you are my God. Give ear to the voice of my pleas for mercy, O Lord. O Lord, my Lord, the strength of my salvation, you have covered my head in the day of battle. Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked. Do not farther their evil plots, or they will be exalted. As for the head of those who surround me, let the mischief of their lips overwhelm them. Let burning coal fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into miry pits, no more to rise. Let not the slanderer be established in the land. Let not evil hunt down. Let evil hunt down the violent man speedily. I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and execute justice to the needy. Surely the righteous shall give thanks to your name. The upright shall dwell in your presence. David, in the midst of, now Saul wants to destroy David, and then later on Absalom wants to destroy David, and that must have been an insane situation to be in, to be to know that, Samuel came and anointed David to be the next king of Israel. And you had all these people trying to destroy David to take what? To take what rightfully belongs to David. His own son, his own flesh and blood, tries to kill him for the throne. And what does David do in the midst of trial, in the midst of suffering, in the midst of um, having to flee for his life? Which I find that interesting. Why did he flee for his life when he was the one that stood before the giant called Goliath? Why did David flee for his life? It's very possible that David, many times in scripture, David does not want to hurt his own son. So he even commands his troops, "Hey, don't hurt the boy." But the boy is trying to kill him. What can we take from that, though? What can we as Christians in 2025 take from Psalms 140? Well, it's no surprise that we will suffer as Christians. We might not suffer in the sense that we see ISIS beheading Christians in places like in the different countries in Africa, or maybe in a Arab nation where they will tax Christians until they just can't survive anymore in that society, or they even kill the Christians for even turning away from the Islamic faith to the Christian faith. Um, or in China, they're persecuting the church. When it comes to the Christians in the United States of America, the Christians in the United Kingdom, the Christians in Germany, the Christians, we have it easy. We don't get persecuted like that. So, how do we relate to this kind of persecution? We will face difficulty in this world, maybe not to the same degree as other people in other um, areas of the world, but we will face difficulties. And in those difficulties, we need to turn to Yahweh. When it says, "O Lord, deliver me, O Lord, from evil man, preserve me from violent man." Maybe you're just you work in retail at some store and you have a coworker that's trying to get you fired. Pray this, Lord, deliver me from violent men. Deliver me from people who just they don't like me and there is no reason that they don't like me. They just don't like me. Deliver me from these kind of people, Lord. Deliver me from bad bosses that are just trying to uh make their employees suffer purposely. You can pray to God to deliver you from these situations. Maybe you're in a bad marriage relationship. Deliver me, Lord. You can pray and cry out to God to deliver you from those situations. So, a few characteristics of a evil man. They're violent. It says in verse 1 that they are violent men. Evil men are violent men. To be violent, there's some kind of action involved. But they're also their tongue, it says that their tongue's as sharp as a serpent, as a serpent. And under their lips is venom of like a snake. And so they're violent, physically violent, but then what comes out of their mouth is dangerous, or they speak death. They want to store up wars continuously. So they just want to start problems with people. So they're violent, they want to start problems with people, and they speak death. Those three characteristics, those three characteristics are the characteristics of an evil man who has rejected God. We need to pray for these kind of people. We need to pray for these kind of people. Now, just because you store up, so say maybe you have one of these characteristics, right? But not the other two. Maybe you just someone hurt your feelings and you need to reconcile with other people. Maybe that's the problem. It might not be that you're an evil man. It might be that you're a hurt man. So you need to be real careful about this because you might see one of these characteristics in somebody and they're doing it to you, but you're you're like, oh, they're just an evil person. Maybe they're just hurt because you hurt their feelings and you need to go reconcile with that person. Another thing that we can point to, as David is calling out to God, asking him for help, what did it say? It says in verse 7, O Lord, my Lord, the strength of my salvation, you have covered my head in the day of battle. We can trust this, right? Is that when evil people try to come against us and fight us for absolutely no reason, and remember this, the no reason part. Some people have a reason why they are coming against you. You did something, you said something, you disrespected them in some way. You need to reconcile with those people. You need to go and make things right with those people. I mean, yeah, of course they're gonna come and say something and do something and speak bad things about you because you did something to them. So you need to go and reconcile with those people. But if people are just coming at you, trying to start a war with you without cause, you can lean on God to be your strength in the day of battle. God Himself, and what that means is that God Himself will come and fight for you. You don't have to do anything but trust God. He will fight for you. David, even though David flees from Absalom, God was fighting for David. God ultimately was going to fight Absalom. When people choose to come and fight us, what they choose to do is fight God. And what we need to choose to do is just keep going that way. But at the same time, be a blessing to our enemies. Pray for them and bless them. And what does that mean? It means, like I said the other day, I said that, I have a truck. And if my enemy's car broke down and they called me and asked me for help, I would go and help them, even if they were my enemy. Because that's what Christians are called to do, love your enemies. Jesus talks about this. So we we need to understand that even though we see wicked things happen, it's not our place to bring justice and judgment. We can warn them. Warning somebody of a coming judgment is one thing, but you being the one that executes the judgment, that's a no-go unless you're like a judge in a courtroom and what your job is. That's a different story. Your job is just to pray for them and bless them. It sounds counterintuitive, but that's what our job is. And in the midst of it all, we can trust that the Lord is our strength and he covers our head. He's our protector in the day of battle. David goes on, he talks about, let burning coal fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire. Let miry pits no more to rise. Um, he goes on to speak like this judgment against his enemies. And then he says, I know that the Lord will maintain the cause of the afflicted and will execute justice to the needy. Surely the righteous shall give thanks to your name, the upright shall dwell in your presence. The upright shall dwell in your presence. Nowhere in the entire psalm does David ever say that he himself is going to go and deal with his enemies. Now, don't get me wrong, David, he was, the scriptures say he killed tens of thousands of people in war, in combat situations. But David understands that God himself will come and fight for him in other types of situations. Now, you get thrown into a war, don't be foolish and be like, I'm going to throw my gun over there and not fight because God's going to protect me. No, God, you have a job to do. You're a soldier. See, I'm a Marine. I went to I was in the Marine Corps. And so we train day and night to kill people in a war combat situation. So if you're in that kind of situation, don't be foolish and just like think that, oh, well, I'm going to just leave it to God because he's going to come and wipe my enemies off the earth. David was also a warrior. And so, he went to war, he killed a bunch of people. But when it comes to other situations outside of that combat situation, we can trust in God. And even in the midst of being in a combat situation, we can still trust in God that he'll give us the strength to carry out the duties of our commanding officer to do what we are paid to do in that kind of situation. But in any other situation, we got enemies coming at us, leave it to God. Just walk away like David did, flee and go somewhere else and look somewhere else and wait on the Lord because his salvation will come to his people. So in Samuel 15, 2 Samuel 15, we see the conspiracy of Absalom. Was that second? No, first Samuel 15, the conspiracy of Absalom, and then in First Samuel, maybe I'm wrong. No, Second Samuel 15, the conspiracy of Absalom. Where is it? I lost it. It's in Second Samuel 16, conspiracy of Absalom, and I believe like two more chapters over, maybe in Second Samuel 17, Absalom is killed. And and the way I want to say that is God took care of the enemy of David. God took care of it. And when it comes to our enemies, our situations, or the evil people that rise up against us for no reason, God's going to take care of it. And it's not something I like I'm happy about. I rather that the Absaloms of my life would repent and turn back to God and come and reconcile. The last thing I want to see is bunch of disaster strike other people. I don't want to see disaster strike my enemies. But this is a promise that we have as Christians, is that God's going to take care of whatever situation you're in. Like the story of Dinah. Remember, Dinah gets violated. And what happens? Her brothers go over there and kill everyone involved, and then get to her sister and bring her back home. It sounds insane, but God took care of it. God took care of it. And He's going to take care of you, whatever situation you're in, whatever trial you're facing, whatever enemies or evil man or violent man that you're facing today or tomorrow or next week or next year, or you already faced. God's going to take care of it. We just need to trust in Him and recognize that on the day of battle, it's not our strength, it's His strength. And I think that as we have gone through the Psalms, we recognize that it's not anything that we can do, but it's all Him. And with that being said, God bless you. Have a great, uh, Good Friday, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Bye.